You may need to change Ecamm Live's permissions on Facebook. Holy moly. So, oh my. Okay, everybody. Hey, in just a second, I'm going to bring on my special guest. And it's so funny because he and I have had this issue before and we'll have to talk about it. But before I do that, let me introduce myself. I'm Tanya Smith, a video marketing coach and business strategist with Get Noticed with Video. And I'm also the lead live streaming coach for Stream Like a Boss TV. You can find our live stream schedule at the link below. And you can also find all my socials there. Look, we do a weekly live and it usually does not go haywire. So I might blame my guest for this because I was on his show and we had the same issue. All right, I'm not going to do that. Let me go ahead and say hello to some folks. Look, if you are in the house, ah, yeah, I know, I know. So let me put a couple of links up here or comments up here because I'm seeing some comments. Hey there, Miss OG in the house. So look, if you have been here before, you've watched us on live stream before, I want you to type in hashtag OG. If this is your very first time ever watching our show, Stream Like a Boss, definitely put in hashtag newbie. And yes, it is strange. It's not live on the actual scheduled event because we had to start over. I'm going to introduce Gabe in just a minute. But before I do that, I need to start off by sharing a special promo because there is a conference coming up that I don't want you to miss. So I've got to share that first. And when we come back in just 1 minute, you get to meet my amazing, incredible brother from another mother, Gabe Leal.
Yes.
All right, so here we go. I'll be right back.
Content Creators University presents Creators Unleashed Act 2. One of the speakers during the conference will be Tanya Smith. Tanya is a video strategist and business coach who works with coaches and course creators to amplify their voice and embrace their face on video so they can stand out online, serve more people, and sell more of their services.
Hello, my name is Tanya Smith, and I'm the founder and CEO at Get Noticed with Video and Chief Video Strategist at Stream Like a Boss TV. I am super excited and so thrilled to be a VIP keynote speaker for the upcoming Creators Unleashed Act 2. This is going to be a phenomenal event you will not want to miss. It takes place November 17th through the 18th from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be talking about how to drive business engagement with live video, and there will be several other incredible speakers in attendance and participating as well. You will not want to miss this, so I'm telling you, go ahead and get your seat right now because it's limited seating, it's free admission, but it's first come, first serve. So you'll want to head right now to contentcreatorsuniversity.com/conference. Again, that's contentcreatorsuniversity.com/conference. Come get the secrets to growing your business with content creation, and I hope to see you there.
Creators Unleashed Act 2, in partnership with our official sponsor, Ecamm Live. You do not want to miss this. This will be fire.
All right. I had to make sure to share with you that amazing Content Creators University conference. It's hosted by my special, another brother from another mother, Mr. JP High Tech. But look, this is not about JP tonight. It always is about JP, but it's also about Gabe Leal. Look, Gabe,
Yes.
we got to talk, man. We got to talk because I don't know why you and I end up having these glitchy moments. And we have to tell the folks, we got to tell the people what happened the first time.
Yeah.
But before we even do that, I need to introduce you formally. I'm going to do that first.
Yes.
So, Gabe, amazing, amazing gentleman. He's a LinkedIn live streaming expert and a video content strategist. He broadcasts a new daily show called UnFiltred Live. And this show helps educate and entertain through conversation and interaction. Gabe is on a mission to help others learn and improve their lives, or actually their live shows, to create the best presentation possible. His journey began on the ground floor with no previous experience, which we need to talk about. And now, with over 300 plus live shows and productions created, he used what he learned. He uses his experience right now to help coach, educate, and certify new creators and producers. So I am so proud and so excited to be able to introduce my friend, Gabe.
Thank you. Thank you. Gosh. You know, to be so honest, I love the idea of writing like your own bios because it makes it sound so much better. But, it really does. But no, honestly, a lot of that is truth of my own journey and how I got into live streaming and um, a lot of the things that I've literally taken and used in all of the productions and shows that I've done has been through the eyes and scopes of other creators and learning from what they do and like this conference that you guys are about to do. um, those sort of uh, those sort of conferences really help people who want to get out there and learn. It's not so
Yeah.
much for the advanced live streamers who already know a lot about it. I mean, yes, we do take things from them, but the what I realize is the educational part of like doing live streams and putting together productions. It takes a lot of work, and then it's again, it's taking a lot of education and learning how to do this
Yeah.
in a manner that is both professional, and it also enhances your own skill set and to be able to do any kind of production, whether it's in front or behind the camera, or yeah, front of the or behind the camera. I mean, all of the stuff that all the stuff that we've learned to do. It is now, I believe, our mission to go out there and help others
Yeah.
who are wanting to get started in doing this. They
And
see
I
what
got
we
to
do, and
tap into something. I got to tap into something here because I
yeah,
know people are wondering, just like I'm wondering as I read through your bio, it said you had no experience. So you weren't like this media superstar that had, television background. And I have friends that have that type of background. And I think it was easier for them to transition into this space. I didn't have that background either. But tell me a little bit about why live streaming. Why did this become a thing for you? Why is it a
okay.
passion?
Live streaming was an alternative. To be honest, live streaming wasn't the first idea to do this. Because my idea was to want to challenge myself. I wanted to go actually do this in front of people. I wanted to go talk and be in front of individuals and help inspire and motivate. So that was a big plan of what I wanted to do. So I started formulating all these ideas to do this at the tail end of 2019. I was like, oh, you know what? 2020 is going to be my year. I am going to go. Yeah, I know.
We all said that.
Yeah, after that. It's
Everybody
like, yes,
said.
I'm moving into a new decade. 2020 is going to be my year. I am ready to go do these things and challenge myself. So I took the formative months before the turn of the year and started preparing myself to do these things. And I started reaching out to a few individuals that I knew. I was like, hey, I mean, I was just trying to bite at the bit of getting in front of people to go talk.
Yeah.
So I finally found a few friends who were like, hey, we do these poetry reads. If you want to go get started and just getting in front of people and do it, I said, absolutely. Uh, I was like, when is the next one? And they said, well, we do this every month. She sent me the email in February, said we're going to do one in March. I was like, yes, sign me up. I'm ready to go do it in March. Right. Hindsight's always funny, but I was like, March, got you. We're going to do this. Right. Um, so I had sent in what I wanted to go talk about as far as the poems that I wanted to read. I found a few. I've submitted them. She's like, okay, cool. We're going to set. We'll put you on the little promo that we're going to do.
Yeah.
And we'll have you come in. Awesome. I was like, okay, this is going to be the steps. These are the steps. And of course, guess what happens in 2020? Something called a pandemic shows up on our
Yeah.
doorsteps,
Yeah.
right? So I, at that point, literally had to say to myself, what am I going to do? So I went through the process of saying I still had to want and drive to talk and do things in front of
Yeah.
people, but I was like, I can't do that right now. So I went looking for alternatives and I found live streaming and being able, and I'd seen live streams before, right? I mean, I'd seen gaming live streams, but I never thought, I really never looked at the scope of what this could actually be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so at that point, I said to myself, you know what? Let's try this. Um, let's do this and put this together. And I literally went and I said, this is, again, just being in the right place, right times are
Yeah.
so important. I started to put this together in February of 2020. I went and bought out. Luckily, listen to this. I found a used Logitech C922 camera for $35. Right.
Ah.
Yes, I didn't buy it new. I was like budget conscious of how I was going to do this. I had seen them. I had seen another gentleman by the name of Russ Johns, who is my mentor. I call him now on LinkedIn using a streaming app called StreamYard, and I was like, "Wow, what is this?" It was all new to me. All of it, everything
Mm-hmm.
was. So I thought about how I was going to do this. I reached out to him. He walked me through the process. Um, literally walked me through for a 2 hour, what would probably cost me now like $500 to go through with the
Yep.
strategy session. He did this for me for free and gave me 2 hours of his time, lots of notes, lots of things that I walked away with. So I went out on my own at that point and said, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I I mean, I had no, trust me, I had no lighting. I had a white sheet back behind me that I thought would make a really great background, and my Logitech C922 camera. And at that point, believe me, I was using a Chromebook. This was like the
That's
lowest.
way back, Gabe. Dang.
Yeah, it is. Yes. So this was like the lowest tech that you could probably do to do a live stream. And I
Yeah.
knew nothing of it. I didn't know a lot about lag, all of this stuff here. So it was like turning on the camera saying, let's go. Um, I even went through the process of finding a guest who she was a friend. And I was like, hey, look, I was afraid to do this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But would you mind coming on to me? And she was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. She'd been on, she'd done speaking before, I think. And she's like, yeah, 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 I'll do this. So set it all up. I went and learned how to do a promo and an intro on my own. Going to the best university that you can if you want to learn about any of this, YouTube University, to go get my degree. Um, and I put it together, built out the whole production. I mean, low production, but it was production. And I was ready to go. And lo and behold, day of, she's like, hey, I have to back out. I have,
Oh.
um, I have this other previous engagement that I cannot get out of. And at that point, I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Now, had I thought to myself and said, I'm just going to back out and wait, I don't know if I'm sitting here talking to you, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um,
I
because you
want to
know
pull a
yourself.
couple of things out of what you just said.
Yes.
And there's some comments too. First of all, what did you break? But
Yeah.
I want to pull out of everything that you just said is you didn't have some type of special super skill coming in. You didn't have a history of doing this. You didn't even have this whole idea of, hey, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to entertain people and I'm going to be,
Right.
lights, camera, action. It was the idea came. You said, hey, I want to be in front of people. I need to find an alternative. Let me find somebody to help me to get up and running. And then
Yep.
you started paying attention to, you observed YouTube University.
Yep.
You put together a strategy. You invited a guest. All of these things, Gabe, came from the drive and the decision to be on camera in the first place, the decision to go
Yeah.
live. I just want people to really kind of grasp that because sometimes I think people feel like they have to have all these things in place before they go live.
Look, this is why I tell anybody that I walk through any kind of strategy with, I say, look, you just have to really just start with number one, a passion to want to do something like this.
Yeah.
Um, and after you figure that out, then it's the next point of like, then maybe doing a strategy and then work with what you have around you at that point. I mean, that's like I said, the only investment that I made when I first started was using the Logitech camera. I mean, I used the free account on StreamYard because I didn't know how I was going to be using that and whether or not it was worth the investment at the moment. And
Yeah.
like I said, I used around the stuff that I had around me, um, that was readily available for me. So my big investment was me just the commitment and the time.
And look what
And
JP hit
yeah,
it. It's the drive. It's your will and your drive
yeah, and
to
those are
do
huge.
something. Mm-hmm.
Those are huge in learning how to actually channel that once you find people that want to do it
Yeah.
is helping guide those individuals into doing it, because then at that point, if you already have those two things, the rest of everything else will start to come together. And pretty much for me, once I knew that I could do it, and it was a struggle. I mean, my first live stream was very hard. It was 19 minutes of me monologuing. I had no clue what I was doing, but I got through it, and that was the thing. And you know what that did? That fueled me for the next day,
Yeah.
because the next day I had already had another guest, and she showed up. We walked through it. We had a conversation, and that was like my real first dive into like what interviewing is and being on camera
Yeah.
and the whole process. And after I was done with that, and believe me, I was nervous as hell those first few episodes, but once I was done with it, um the exhilaration, the feelings that you get afterwards are, again, such a high. It's when you want to start doing something like that and you do accomplish, um, putting together either a show or production or an event, you get the relief, you get all the endorphins, you get all that stuff that comes
Yeah.
rushing into it. So I knew that
Yeah.
once I did that, um,
Oh, here's a
and
question.
yeah, I do.
Do you still have that
So,
video, Gabe?
so if you go to my YouTube channel, the Gabe Leal Experience, I do have all my seasons separated. And if you go to season 1, episode 1, it's called The Beginning. It is there. I went back and, of course, put on, like I said, I knew nothing. So I didn't know everything. So I had to go back and redo like thumbnails and stuff for my YouTube channel.
We're
I
going
mean,
to pop that up at the end. I'm going to make sure to pop up your
yes,
YouTube. And
Uh,
look, here's something that I want to explore a little bit with you, Gabe, because you talked about not knowing what to do, starting out with the C922 that was, you said renewed. It wasn't even like a brand new one. Um, there were probably other roadblocks as well. I know this because
Mhm.
of what we were talking about prior to the show. But one thing
Yes.
I want to say this because I saw a couple of comments a little bit ago about, hey, you're not on the YouTube link. Let me say this. Everything is not going to go perfectly even after your season. Look, Gabe, you have been doing this for some time. You said 300 plus shows, and even the show that you and I did first, we had a whole shutdown. And then
Yes.
today, the reason why for you, Scott, because you mentioned that you don't see the original video link, the reason why is because apparently I kept getting something saying insufficient permissions. There was something weird happening that I have not ever
Mhm.
seen before when we started this show. So we had to start over from scratch.
Yes.
The reason I'm saying this or making this point, besides letting people know that's what happened, is even with your experience, even with all of these videos under your belt, there still can be obstacles, right? Can you talk a little
Right.
bit about some of the roadblocks that you faced, other than you didn't have all the gear and all the
Oh,
knowledge? What other
of
roadblocks?
course. A lot of it was the commitment, number one, because I realized that of course, knowing yourself, I knew that if I hadn't made the commitment to doing this and doing an everyday show when I first started, um, that would have been something I probably would have done once or twice and then said, I'm good. I'm done with it. So I forced myself to do this every day, and I forced myself to reach out to guests. And that was the next roadblock, was actually getting people to come on and have a conversation with me, especially people that I found very interesting and intriguing on some of these other social media platforms. Because again, you're at that point, I'm an unknown substance. I'm nobody knows me. I'm not a commodity at that point. I'm just a guy
Yeah.
um, who's reaching out to somebody and saying, "Hey, I've been following your content. I love what you do." And I took the approach of making sure that I was thoroughly involved in any kind of content that they were posting, or any kind of videos that they were doing, to make comments, to do all these things. And I was getting a lot of no's. And as discouraging as it was at some points, I said, you know what? I just got to keep pushing through. And of course, like I said, mid March, end of March 2020 was I know it was a bad time, but it was a godsend for me, because all of a sudden everybody was at home.
Yep.
Nobody had all their commitments, and everything changed. And a lot of those no's started to turn into yeses.
Wow.
And those were big, huge driving factors for me, and to continue to push on. And that was part of the roadblocks that I was running into, because I kept telling myself, what if I can't find people to come on with me? I mean, I don't want to be like talking by myself every single day. I mean, I probably would have,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that I could very well, as opposed to now. But back then it was something, like I said, I wanted to also learn from a lot of these other people, and hear, like, again, to hear like what their experiences and things that, that I found fascinating about them, that I wanted to share with just other people. So that was a big roadblock at the very beginning, because, like I said, I wanted to have a show where I also got the practice of interviewing people. And that was the funny thing as well. Even when I wasn't on camera, when I wanted to just practice like interviewing people,
Mm-hmm.
because I felt like I wanted to get practice, like how to listen really well, become an active listener. I would ask just people, like even family and friends, like, "Hey man, can I bug you for like 30 minutes of your time?" And it was, "Man, I'm busy, bro. I'm sorry,"
Yeah.
or, "Hey, homie, I listen. Is there another time?" And it was like, okay,
But you didn't stop asking, right?
didn't stop asking
Yeah.
in, it was funny, like I said, like even now, my brothers and I, we've done, we've done a few shows together. They have their own podcast and live stream. But the whole thing of like asking them very early on, it was because their lives were busy and because uh, when when the pandemic came on and all of a sudden it was like the only way that we could communicate, then all of a sudden it was like, hey man, do you want to jump on? Do you want to go do this? And I
Let's
was
do it
like,
live.
let's do it live. Exactly. And you know, and just going through and plowing through a lot of these interviews, I would say another thing that I also learned, was just to how to prepare yourself. I
Mhm.
think, for a lot of individuals who want to get started in doing this, there are a lot of things that you're going to run into, that can become discouraging. I mean, look, this is how ingrained this is in my head. Episode 10 of my very first season, I did a show with a gentleman who, somebody recommended to me, named Tim Meadows Jr. And we hopped on, and the stream started out fine. We were fine. The first 10 minutes, everything was good.
Uh-oh.
Conversation's going good. And I didn't know that he was using, well, I wasn't even paying attention, but he was using Bluetooth, headphones, and his audio kept cutting out. And that was the first time that I had ever run into anything like that, and I had no idea how to troubleshoot it.
Ugh.
Um, we kept trying over. I said, "Hey, jump out of the studio, go out, come back in." Whatever it was, it never even dawned on me, um, to say, "Hey, your Bluetooth headphones, are they charged or what are they doing?" Or so I learned from that instance on, like we plowed through the interview as best as we could, for about 30 minutes, and then that was it. I can't do this no more. I think I finished the rest of the show by myself.
Yeah.
Um, but I learned that if I would have at least understood how to, troubleshoot myself, or at least have, some kind of backup plans in case anything happens. That again, being prepared is one of those things that's usually oversight unless you reach out to a professional or somebody who's done enough of these that gives you those ideas. Like now it's probably common practice, but I'm going to tell you, back then when I was doing it, mm-mm, you know, people
I,
didn't have like they didn't have, troubleshoot, videos and sheets to help you walk through the process.
you just figured things out. And you know what? That is part of the journey. I think for a lot of the people that watch my show, they tend to be newer to live streaming. I wanted to get some audience comments and questions too in a second, but a lot of people are newer. And so they think they have to know everything. But I feel like what you're saying is you still went ahead and went through the struggles and you learned as you went, right?
Yeah.
So learning as you went helped to build that experience so that you did figure out, oh, I need a backup plan just in case these things happen, which is why you and I we've been smooth sailing. Even in the midst, the last time it was a storm, y'all, it was crazy. And it like just
Yeah.
shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, listen, and we haven't had that much rain since, but I remember it was, the night that we did it, we had thunderstorms. I remember it was raining that day, and I was like, "Oh," it didn't even cross my mind to think this could happen, because it had never happened to me in 300
Right.
plus episodes. And here we are, and I feel like at this point we got a nice flow going. The
Yeah.
conversation is like, man, popping. The chat's popping off. People are actually enjoying this and taking value out of it. And then all of a sudden, bam, shut down, baby. I
It
just
went
hear
totally out.
we went totally. Everything just went dark, and I was like,
Yep.
"What the heck just happened?" I was like, "No," and it took me a minute to like everything to refire back up, turn everything back on, get it started. And
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, no way is she there. But of course, I should have known she's a pro.
I was there.
And lo and behold, I got back in. And there she was waiting, and I was like, "Thank you, thank you."
You just
So
learn to roll with the punches and you learn to put the backups in place because even after that happened, that made me say, oh, yeah, I probably need to go ahead and get my backup battery connected that my
oh,
husband had bought.
trust me, I now sitting over here to my left is my laptop and my phone, which are both charged.
Yep.
So if anything were to happen, it would just literally me turning on the hotspot from my phone and then connecting to my laptop. Cameras on, C922's over there connected to it. I'm ready
Yep.
to go.
And that's,
No,
you start to learn how to think like that, right? After you've been through some of the things that we've gone through. Hey, Yolanda Chin said, hey, Gabe. Do
hey
you see
girl,
her?
yes I do. She's one of my regulars that's there every night.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
I appreciate you.
And Michelle said she loves your initiative. And then JP had a question that we definitely need to pop up. I want you to talk a little bit
Look,
about this. How
look,
long
I'm
has
gonna
it
show you
taken
guys.
you to go
I'm gonna
from
show you
beginner
guys.
to pro? Uh-oh. He's going to
Okay.
show us
Oh yeah.
the actual video. Yay.
Wait. Watch this. Look at this. See, this is not just me saying. This is actually how I have my laptop now ready to go. My phone's sitting there at any one point, so that if anything ever would have happened again, I
Oh, you
am ready to just
switched. Look at
yes,
that.
I am ready to go live and just keep pushing through.
Yep.
So it's pushed, yeah. So it's totally charged again. Phone's totally charged. So
Yep.
I always think about that now. But how long did it take me to get from beginner to pro? You know, JP, I think that we all have a threshold where once we start feeling comfortable in how to handle the not only the tech side but the production, and then how to actually hold a conversation. I think once you feel like you've got to that point where you can master those things, um, at that point, change the title on your banner wherever you're at. Call yourself a pro. I think you've gone from beginner to pro at that point. I think um, you know there are no stipulations or parameters that say that now you're a professional unless you've spent, again, kind of like what we talked about at the beginning of the show, years and years of having a background in broadcast media or something. Okay, if you're got that already, start out you're a pro. Okay,
Right.
you got
Check the
that in the
box.
background. Check mark. Yeah, I already got that on the box. I'm good with that. But going through and learning through trial by fire is one of the best ways. And once you start learning your own systems and processes that work for you, I think you're ready. You're at that point to make that transition to call yourself a professional live streamer.
Yeah.
So, you know,
What advice
you,
would you give somebody who's brand new starting
ooh,
out?
always, always start with number one with what you got. Don't go spend money. Don't get, what you're familiar with this. Those in the
Yep.
eCam community call it the gas, baby. Don't go do all that. You don't have to.
Hmm.
Don't watch Diana Gladney. Don't go watch any of these people that have all this. None of them. Don't go watch none of them um, that are showing all these gear reviews, because then you're gonna get it. So
Yeah.
start out naturally with just the phone. I mean, if you got an iPhone 14 now, guess what? That camera is magnificent. Start with that. Most of these apps are being built to use mobily. So, starting out with just your phone is the easiest way to get going. And then at that point, you go into the next steps of how you develop as a creator. Then it's going from there to figuring out your content and then figuring out your strategy. And just make sure that your content, of course, is just something that you're going to be able to continue to talk about. That's the whole thing about it, is that people are going to want to see that you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
and they're going to want to see that you're an expert in what you're sharing, whether it's through life journeys, whether it's actually through education and getting a degree, any of those things. Just make sure you have what your content is down, and then from there you can pretty much develop your strategy, which is at that point, hey, figuring out, do I want to live stream, do I want to record, do I want to have to edit, do I want to
Yeah.
have to do a weekly show, do I want to have to do the production myself? Figuring out all those things afterwards shouldn't be the thing that hampers you from doing it. So it is, just number one, again, using the things that you have, and then acquiring those things that if you want to get into the next level and move from one level to the next and elevate how you want to create your productions and live streams, then it's that point, okay, looking at the idea of investing. Oh, let me go
Yeah.
buy a Sony A6400 then. Let me go buy a capture card. Let me go buy this. Let me go buy that. Then at that point, okay, then you start watching those other creators who are giving you the tips and doing tech reviews and tip reviews and walking you through the process to kind of then figure out what kind of gear you want, how you want to set up done.
I think
So
I
it's
hear you saying it's commitment first,
yes.
it's content second,
Yep.
and then you go and you get the gear.
Yeah. Then you go. I mean,
But what
I
people
listen.
do first, you know that they do, because I'm guilty. You go and you buy the fancy gear because you watch the people on YouTube that said, "Hey, this is how you're going to do it. Go buy the gear."
I mean, I look, I ran into a gentleman a year ago, and he reached out to me. We started talking, and he was like, listen, I want to get into live streaming. And I was like, okay, cool, yeah, let's talk about this. Let's go through the steps. And then we started to like really dive deeper into his journey, and he's like, man, I got like $15,000 worth of equipment here. Me and a friend were just going to do a podcast, and we went and bought Rodecaster Pro. We went and brought a 4 mic setup. We went and bought all these other things, and we really didn't know what we were doing. And then we didn't even know like how we were going to do our show or anything else. I was like, oh no. I mean, lucky for you, you have that stuff now. But the
Yeah.
thing was, what happens if you make that investment and all that stuff and you realize, I don't like it.
Yep.
I don't think, this
I'm not
does
going to
not
use
fit.
any of this.
Exactly. Then
Yep.
what are you going to go to turn around and sell it, but you're going to take a 35% hit on it because nobody's going to buy it at retail value.
Yeah.
That $15,000 that you invested now comes what, 11, 10. So yeah, just be careful in making those commitments like that into gear. It's the commitment first into the process, then you go into doing the other stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can get buried pretty quickly,
Very
or
fast.
you're very
Very
fast.
fast. I
So
see a question here about, and
yes,
chocolate treat. This may be a little specific, so I'm not sure
yes,
if we're going to we're not going to do too deep a dive. I'm going to pop it up, but
yes,
do you have any thoughts on a specific computer? So I want you to think about what he said first,
yes. Well,
meaning,
it's the same thing. So it's the same process in what you want to do in gaming. So even in gaming, so when you go watch Twitch streams and what they do as well in live stream, because again, it is live streaming pretty much at its highest peak.
mm-hmm,
So it depends on what you want to do as far as your gaming, because picking the computer, how do you have it built? So are you buying it stock? Are you going to have it customly built? Because they do this. A lot of rigs that a lot of gamers purchase, they want them specifically for certain things, and in the
based on
aesthetics
the
of it.
style. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, that's another
That's
thing
right.
as well. But how you invest in wanting to buy a computer for your gaming. They have gaming laptops. They have, again, do you want to spend, because look, some of those rigs get expensive. You can talk, I mean, you're talking upwards of $7,000-8,000 to buy a rig. The reason is because in gaming, of course, a lot of first player games that are being streamed, you don't want to have the idea of lagging. You don't want any of those things. You want to still be able to,
Yeah.
you want that thing to be a beast and be
And I
able to handle the
think,
processing.
just to clarify, so Chocolate Treat has been on the show before. She is a guest that's been here before. I don't know that you want to be gaming. I don't think that's your focus, but you can put in the comments if that is. I
Yeah.
think you're looking at doing business streaming like what we've been talking about. And if that's the case, there's a different purpose, and
Right.
maybe not necessarily that you have to go and get the gaming computer, but
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I bought my daughter a gaming computer. I bought her a rig because it's a different setup from what I'm using. I'm not going to buy her a M1 Mini and then she's using it for that is a whole totally different
whole thing, different
idea and
thing.
setup to set up. So yes, she does hers for her Twitch streaming, and and some of these are built out for to use because they use things like NDI. They use things like that. So,
Right.
um, they want their computer to be able to handle the processing because that is where all of it is lying when you're gaming and you're doing streams like that. Where as what we're doing here now in business streaming and some of the stuff that we're doing here now, a lot of streaming services are web based. So your computer and what you use aren't really taxed unless you're streaming with something like, of course, Ecamm, or if you're streaming with something like OBS. Other than that, all the other ones, you name them, Wave, Restream, I've gone through them all. They're all mostly web based. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really at that point, it's just really relying on your upload speeds from your computer and of course your camera, whether or not you're streaming. But most of them throttle them anyway at 1080p at the highest, so
Right.
you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about your computer lagging because you're streaming 4K and everybody else it won't handle it. So yeah,
Ah,
it again,
okay. So
go,
that's what I thought. She put, someone said gaming computer is way better. Strictly for
um,
business streaming. And Chocolate Treat, I haven't found that to be accurate. I will say, to Gabe's point, you need to think about what is the purpose and what are you trying to achieve, because
mhm,
gaming systems can get really super expensive. For me, I made a decision last year to buy a Mac
mhm.
because I wanted to use it specifically for Ecamm Live, because I was getting FOMO. I was like, wow, all these people are over there doing this cool stuff with this Ecamm thing, and I'm over here using, StreamYard, Restream, which I'm not saying is bad. I'm just saying
Right.
that I had
It's
to think
not.
about what's my purpose.
Right. And again, that's where you sit down and have strategy sessions, right?
Yeah.
Is to figure these things out and to really see what what your intentions are and to help you build out whether or not that is going to be the best thing for you because it's hard to
Yeah.
make those sort of investments and not be able to maximize what you spend and what you intentionally want to do with why you're buying the equipment in the first place. So yeah, just be mindful of it. And other than that, again, Chocolate Treat, I'll tell you this: um, go to YouTube University. It's one of the best places to figure out how a lot of these build outs are done. Go watch Harris Heller. He's a Twitch streamer, but he does tons of tech tutorials and he walks you through um, things like buying out a rig, using OBS, all the other stuff that you want to talk about. There's people that spend hours upon hours uh, living it, breathing it, doing it like we're doing here now,
Hmm.
and but they're doing it with the intentions of the whole idea of gaming in mind. So there's a lot of great content creators that do this, and I would say check them out. Go follow a lot of them, and you'll start picking and choosing and picking up whether or not which ones you feel will fit your needs. Even if you want to, again, even if you want to use it for business streaming, even if you want to, they're going to probably be able to tell you the difference of why you should spend $3,000 or $5,000
Hmm.
into buying a rig.
Yeah.
So if you want to know, That's a $2,000 difference. And if the $3,000 one meets your needs and the $5,000 one is just extra, you really don't need it. Okay,
Save
then
that money.
you save that.
I'm gonna go ahead and say save
Take
that.
take that 2,000.
Don't
Go
need
get
the
a camera.
2 months.
Go get a microphone. Go get.
Please don't do that. Because the thing I want to go back to, especially if any of you are new to streaming, and which I recognize some of the names in this feed right now, go back to what Gabe said earlier, and that is start with the commitment.
Mhm.
Make sure this is something you want to do. Go to the content and have something to say, like have a strategy for what it is you're going to be talking about that's of interest and passion for you and for your potential audience. And then third, start looking for the gear and upgrading and all of those things. But
Mhm.
don't jump straight to the $5,000.
Yeah. Come on.
Please don't do that. And
Yeah.
don't you go and say that I was watching Gabe and Tanya and they said,
Right. You know, that's like saying, yeah, hey, I just got my license and now I'm going to buy a Lamborghini, and that's what I'm going to start out as my first car with. It's like, man, come on. That's a lot of overkill,
yeah,
and it's totally unnecessary. And a lot of the times there's a lot of regret that goes behind making some of those
yes,
decisions. So we just want to walk you to be a little bit cautious. And then at that point, once you're comfortable with everything, I'm not telling you to not to buy these things. I'm just saying walk you through it till you get to that point where it's like, now I know how to fully maximize
yeah,
what I'm buying. That
that's
is
right.
what I want most people to walk away with from any of this. It's like, it's great to have all that gear sitting there, but actually know how to use it in anything that you're doing, and you're going to get the best results. But if you're just buying it to have it there, oh yeah, I got this Shure SM7B sitting here, but I don't even use it.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
It looks pretty. Thank
It's
you.
it's a nice, beautiful mic, but if you're not talking,
I mean, not
then why?
exactly. Come on, man. Don't walk down that thing. And you know what? And I purchased things. Look, I've purchased things, but I knew I had the intentions to use them.
Yep.
So like I've had my Mac M1 Mini. I had it in a box for 2 months.
Eric, look,
Okay. Right. Yeah.
I'm all
There
in
you
on the
go.
Lamborghini. I
There
know
you
that's
go.
right.
There you go, Eric. If you got it,
Right.
go right ahead, man. But yeah, stick with the Samsung Galaxy. Um, it'll get you. You know what? You'll probably garner more views with that camera and you next to the Lamborghini going, "This is what I drive every day." Uh,
I know. It's true. Michelle, you're right. We don't want you to have the buyer's remorse.
I don't. No, I don't at all. I just
Yeah.
want people to be able to again enjoy it. Um, and have the ability to create whatever their imagination allows them to.
That's right.
So that is why I push in anybody who wants to get into live streaming and content creation is like, look, even your phones. I mean, TikTokers do so many things simply through their phones that are so creative, and they get to do these things that their minds let them imaginatively create and then share out into the world. So you don't have to spend all the money. It's just having the will, like JP said, and then having the passion to go out there and do it. And then like I said, everything else starts falling into place. Right.
Yes.
So
And I did see a good note, especially Chocolate Treat, because you're on YouTube. Look at what JP wrote. He talked about, or he gave some tips for
yes.
streaming with Windows computers that you can use as well if you're looking for some.
Hmm. Yeah.
Take a look at what he wrote there as well. I need to make sure that the people know, because I can't believe the time has flown by so fast, but the people need to know where to find you. And I know that you have a YouTube channel that you mentioned earlier, and we want people to
Yes.
go to season 1, was it episode 1?
It was season one. Wait. Okay. Season one, episode one. It is again 19 minutes long. Um, you'll get to see me in the flesh doing uh, doing what I do. Not that well back then, but I was at least putting myself out there and doing it. And you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna I'm gonna drop the link to that first show in the comments here on YouTube. So if anybody wants to actually go watch how wonderful I was and drop a comment, go right ahead. And while you're there, subscribe to the channel
And I've got his channel up right now.
up
So it
there.
is the Gabe Leal Experience. And I'm probably pronouncing your last name incorrectly. So please correct me on that.
No, no, that's fine. It's Liao like Real,
Okay.
like you're right on par. So
Awesome.
um, there's a link, folks, if you want to go check it. And like I said, I've gone through and I've revamped it so that I separated pretty much by seasons, and then I went through and any like one-off like series that I did, those are all excuse me, all together as well. So yeah, you can go check it out, man. I am again always constantly working to make these sort of commitments to things like my YouTube channel, and of course, you can also follow me on LinkedIn. So I stream there as well. I have a really great following and community over there on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to go check me out over there, I am over there quite a bit, and I'm starting to delve more into Twitter and Instagram a lot heavier than I was before. So I do have a agenda. I'm trying to get on Amazon Live, so for me to do that, I got to build up a lot of my other social media channels. So um, that is why I'm heavily investing in there. But I'm also going through the process of learning those social media platforms as well and how to actually navigate them, so that I walk away not just doing it because I'm getting on Amazon Live, but walk away with experience
Yeah.
on how to become a better creator across those platforms as well.
I love it. I love it. I have one more question that's in the from the audience, and then we're gonna get ready to wrap. What recharges your passion?
Ooh,
That's a good one.
that is a good one.
And we won't be too long,
It won't be too
but
long, but you know, for me, in all honesty, it is watching other creators. So what refuels me is like when I take my social media breaks, because I do that now. Um, I didn't do that when I first started, but I do it now. So intentionally, after I finish doing a season, I will take a couple months off um, to kind of recalibrate myself and get in a better creative mindset. And then I start going and watch other creators and see what they do and watch how they're like progressing themselves, or going to find new creators who I've never connected with before, and then going to
love
go
it.
follow them and see what they're doing. And then from there, you know what that does? That kind of like gets me back in the idea of going through FOMO again. Like now I miss it again. I love what this guy is doing. I love what she's doing. I love what she's creating. I love what he's creating. They're doing this so well. And then I just draw ideas from watching them and going, okay, let's start formulating a lot of ideas, and then let's get ready, and we'll launch into uh, our next reiteration of whatever comes to mind at that point. So, yeah, that really does help me a lot in filling up my tank and saying I'm ready to create again.
What I love about all the different guests that I get to have on this show, Gabe, is that everybody has a different approach. And
Yeah.
so people can learn from, and they can take away, just like you just said, from anybody that they're watching and say, okay, this is the part that I want to leverage in my own live streaming process, right? And this part over here, I'm never going to do that. Right? I mean,
Yeah,
seriously, right?
you did. Well, that's a good thing though. I mean, there are
That's
things you're
good.
like, I you know what? I seen this now in actual practice. I want
Yeah.
nothing to do with it.
Yes. And you get to create your own, you
Right.
you have your own creative gem that you've just built, that you've just put together. And I love that with live streaming. I love that it
Yeah.
is so real and so vision directed,
Yeah.
because your vision may change over time. You may have come into it thinking one thing and, thinking I need these things. And by the time you get to, I don't know, episode 100, you may have a whole different way of doing things. But that's why I think it would be cool to go back and see your first episode. I think I showed one of my first episodes. It was really crazy. It was whack. Like, it was so whack.
Well, at some point, I thought about doing this and getting a whole bunch of creators together and then having them bring their first video and
Yes,
just sitting down and walking through it
let's do
be-
it.
because I think there is so much value in watching how we first start out and take, it's almost like watching you take your first baby steps. And then
Yes,
and then here you are walking, you're able to run 5 miles now, but back then, oh no, that wasn't the case. That was that was me just getting up and figuring out how to get up on my deer legs to stand.
that's
And
right.
I'm not, where I'm nowhere near the athlete or wherever I'm at now. So that is why it's always so fun to go find other creators. And when I hear them share like, oh, my first video, it's
I love
funny
it.
to see their reaction because
We
they
should
always
do that. We should
yes.
do that.
I think as I start wrapping up my own season here, when I get in December, I'll probably go through that process of reaching out to a lot of creators and have a couple of them on, and that'll be the show. Is like, bring your first video. We're gonna watch it together. Everybody in the audience is gonna watch it, and then we're just gonna have a little fun riffing on it, and some of the things. And I'll bring again. I will proudly air my first one as well because
Okay.
it is a masterpiece. Just
Deal. Let's do it. I think you should
let's
invite me
do it.
for sure. I want to be a part of that one.
I will. So I'll invite you, and I'm gonna go find some more creators who are actually doing this. And oh, can I give a shout out to somebody,
Yeah,
please,
yeah.
before we get out of here? I want to congratulate somebody we know in the ECAM community, Miss India Delgado. I heard from her that she got selected to be a part of the LinkedIn Creator Program. So, um, good news for her. That's
We just
awesome.
connected right before this show for a hot minute. That is awesome.
So yes, she sent me a message. It was like, I got selected. I was like, awesome. I need more creators like you on this platform. So yes, I am happy and proud
Yay!
to see more people like that who can come on the LinkedIn platform where I spend most of my time, and see amazing creators come on here, and all they're going to do is just help enhance the content. So love it.
Very
I
nice,
want to just
India.
tell her congratulations.
Congrats.
Yes. Yes.
Congrats, girl. Congrats. I'm so excited for you. Well,
Yes.
look, we got to wrap it up because apparently I have a daughter in the other room who's like, come on, mom. She's getting ready to do something called a blackout pep rally, because they
Oh,
have this
wow.
big citywide game that's like, it's the first time these two high schools have played in 6 years. So it's crazy. So they're doing
Wow.
a late night pep rally with fluorescent
That's
lighting and all this crazy stuff. So,
that sounds fun.
so I got to get her
Wow.
over there.
Yeah. All
Yolanda,
right. And
thank
then
you for being here. And thank you, Chocolate
yes.
Treat, for your compliment.
Yeah. If
Yes.
you don't have enough of me after this, guys, you can head over to my YouTube or LinkedIn channel. I will be live streaming myself, and we'll jump into this a little bit more. So thank you.
Yeah,
First of
check
all,
him out. I'm popping this back up so that people can see Unfiltered Live. So go find the Gabe Leal Experience on YouTube.
yes.
You're welcome, Eric.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for joining us. I love it. Go follow him right now, everybody, over on YouTube, the Gabe Leal Experience. I promise you,
Thank
he's
you.
as much fun there as he is here.
Uh, I, I always try to have a little bit of fun. Always.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for sharing your wisdom. Just thanks for being being awesome. I just appreciate you so much. I mean, we hit it off right when we first met, and I was like, yes, this is my
Yeah,
guy. This is my dude.
this is it, right? And this is what I love about how we connect as creators and live streamers is you just feel the vibe sometime with people, and you're like, man, if I could get paid to do this, I would.
I know. And even if you didn't, it's
So
still fun, right?
even
It's
if it did, it's
exciting.
still fun.
It's
So there you go,
exciting.
folks. All
Thank you
right.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
All right,
I
everybody. We'll
appreciate it.
see you next week. So make sure that you do show up for our next show Thursday next week, every Thursday. As a matter of fact, you can find me at streamlikeaboss.tv and on my socials. Definitely go follow my friends. If you go to streamlikeaboss.tv and you check out our YouTube channel, you will find an entire playlist of all my guest interviews. I've got some amazing people there and more to come. More to come. So, very excited about that. Take good care of yourself. Make sure that you are leveraging streaming, live streaming in such a way that it's going to help you to stand out, but also to serve more people. Because to me, that's what this is all about. Everything that you heard Gabe talk about and me as well. It's not so much just for us, although it's fun for us, but it's also about reaching more people and serving them in a way that only you can. So we will see you next time. Thank you again for all your comments and questions, and take good care.